I wanted to share, kind of a story that something happened to me the other day, and I just wanted to get your feedback. I was reaching out to a planner and trying to get us involved in a final walkthrough for this big wedding that we're doing. And somebody we'd worked with before, and I asked if we could be part of the final walkthrough, and it was already done. And that's kind of our big thing. That's how we prepare for a wedding, is all three of us go to a walkthrough. We get to meet the client one-on-one. We see pictures and stuff on wedding websites, but seeing them a couple of months before is just a different experience.
Yeah.
And I kind of felt left out. It was like, so when am I going to have the opportunity? When are we going to have the opportunity to meet this couple, get to know them, and see how they react to the venue before the day of?
Yeah.
Because that's just awkward, walking into a bridal suite or wedding suite, and it's the first time you've set eyes on somebody, and they are halfway through their makeup in a white negligee or shorties or something.
Yeah.
And, it just makes everybody kind of uncomfortable. So I just want to kind of talk about that, maybe see what we can do to change that perception that we're kind of these people way off in the distance that just show up on the day of. And just kind of wanted to get you guys' feedback to help me respond to, couples and to wedding planners a little bit better.
Yeah, well, the first thought that comes to mind is, the more chances we get to talk to our couples in person or on call is so important to getting to know them. And so going to these site visits and getting to find different ways to connect with them and learn more about them is like super important. And so when we don't get that, as a filmmaker, my thought is like, well, I'm trying to find ways to highlight, their personality and their story in general. So, when we start to lose that, then on the day of the wedding, we're at a loss.
Yeah, and it seems like that comes from, the different treatment. There's a very different treatment that photographers get versus how videographers are treated by planners, by couples, just how it's thought of. And I think that's because photography has always kind of been I don't want to say cinematic, but fairly cinematic art form. It's pretty.
Mm-hmm. It's always been part of the wedding industry since photos happened.
Absolutely.
And video and cinema is still kind of new.
Right. I think stylized is the word I'm looking. Like stylized photography has been around for a very long time in weddings.
Yeah,
and
I can see that. Mm-hmm.
The video as a part of weddings is fairly new in general, but it's also documentary in nature, and that's how it started.
Yeah.
And so that's, I think, just how people treat it. Because you can shoot a documentary wedding in that kind of old-fashioned style like that. You don't have to meet the couple on the on the site visit or anytime prior. Just show up and shoot what you see. But since the business has changed, nobody else has really changed around it, or just like other vendors. And I think it's just information people don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely a lingering thing from that time period, especially with the documentary films, because they're just used to us showing up, filming, leaving, and then just providing, a 2-hour edited video of the ceremony and reception.
Exactly.
But now what we're doing is crafting this story, and it's unique to the couple, and as people are seeing us on the day, as filmmakers, they're not seeing the end product. They're not understanding why we need good sound. They're not understanding why we need to have, more time outside of the festivities to get those shots of the couple, those romantic shots together, right? There's a disconnect, right?
Yeah.
And so what happens is, like in your instance where, we didn't get to go to that site visit. So now, we could have had something planned maybe for the venue, drone shots, or some cool idea that we could do on the day that we could plan for to have the couple involved with, So we get to lose that aspect of it where we can prepare beforehand.
Well, and what I'm doing is I reached out to the couple themselves, And I didn't feel awkward about doing that because the couple reached out to us, and it wasn't just the planner, and the planner did not ask me not to talk to the couple because you have to respect those relationships. So I reached out to the couple and I said, hey, understand that you've already been through your final site through. Are you going to walk through? Are you going to be back in town? If you are, then I'm glad I'll call the venue. We'll set it up, not a problem. Or worst case scenario, at least we can meet you virtually and have a half an hour talk. You can walk us through the timeline, talks about your hopes and dreams for the day, what you're nervous about, what you're excited about. Is there any surprises? That's a huge part of it. If the groom is planning something, or if the bride is planning something, or if the couple is surprising their guests, either their wedding party or the guests with something. These are things that we all need to be prepared for. Yeah. And if we don't know that they're happening, then we can't make the most of it. We can't make it bloom. So, and I would love to get timelines before the week of, because that's kind of the standard, right? Yeah. We get timelines maybe the Monday or Tuesday before a Saturday wedding. Yeah. And again, that doesn't give us a lot of time to plan. So one thing what we brought up the other week was crafting a survey, questionnaire, kind of thing. Yeah. So I'm in the middle of doing that. Putting maybe like 10 questions together. And so if we're caught and we can't go through the site visit, they can't get on us virtually because they're out of the country, they're busy, they get family, whatever. At least then we can have some kind of written document that talks about those kinds of things. Yeah. And didn't you have a really great idea, Carson, for one of the questions on there?
Well, I think one of the questions, there's a few question ideas I thought would be just necessary, but one that I thought would be fun, that would get people into it, because I think a big issue with the information and couples getting the information that we're trying to give them of like, please just talk to us more. That's all we want from you, is just to talk to us more. Because I think they would if they knew that. If they knew that we could deliver at a higher level if they did that. Yeah. So I think something that can just relate it is, if your wedding film could look like any movie, what would that movie be? And just like your favorite movie, or a movie that you think stylistically looks really cool. Like, I want my wedding to be a Wes Anderson movie, or I want my wedding to be The Notebook, or whatever it is.
Right. Or music even. So the look, the music too.
Absolutely.
Or and the tension, if there's tension in it or not.
Yeah. Or even editing style, like Edgar Wright. Like, what if you wanted, some getting ready footage that was very Edgar Wright style?
Yeah.
Lots of montage and
crazy, fast-paced. Yeah.
And I really think it's just people not thinking certain things are possible because it's a wedding film. Right. It really can be anything you want. It can be an enhanced version of yourselves,
Absolutely.
That's if that's what you choose, then, that's what we'll provide. But it's cool to get out of the box sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. They have the opportunity to craft something that is totally theirs, totally unique. And we can go from everything from, the super timeless look of like Sound of Music running through the fields, right? Yeah. We can always do that look, but then we can also do, the other end. Yeah. Something really, to black and white, to a vintage look, to, like you said, like whatever, gothic. We have some couples that have been very goth. Yeah. And the possibilities there would have been so fun. Yeah, I think you're right. I think just letting people know that the opportunities are endless.
Yeah. And I think that's the whole purpose of like a survey or something. And make this whole survey experience as fun as humanly possible. Like, all fun questions. No, like, meat and potato standard questions. Because that's really what I think we'd want to know about them, is their personality. That's the one thing we're trying to get to fastest. Yeah. So rather than, how long have you been together? Which is, all that stuff is necessary to know at some point, for sure. But the stuff that I find more importance in is like, oh, this means a lot to me.
Yeah,
That's
no,
great.
I think the
Yeah.
super fun survey is great. Because then they don't feel limited,
Yeah.
and that's what we don't want them to limit themselves before they come to us.
Right.
We want to open that box and let those ideas flow.
Yeah. Because I think just people are fun and, you know, they want to have fun. So if
Yeah.
you give them the opportunity, then they'll take it.
Yeah.
And if all they've ever seen is the running through the meadow kind of films, then that's what they'll expect.
Yeah.
Because they just don't know that, the running through Hollywood Cemetery at midnight is a possibility.
That was super fun.
Yeah.
I think sometimes when maybe the situation is that we're being contacted by not the couple or only one member of the couple, it's like, what we'd like to do is get the whole, like both members of the couple involved in what we do, or just at least excited about it.
Yeah.
And so that's why the relationships with planners are so important, is because they're that extra buffer that can, if, the mother of the bride is the ones that contracted us, we might not have gotten much contact with the bride, or with
So true.
either member of the couple. So it's the planner, that relationship we could have with the planner, that could get us that access, potentially. So that's why that's so important.
And then we can serve the planner better too.
Yeah.
Because we've talked a million times about, wouldn't it be great if we could have the opportunity to plan beforehand with the planner or the person or the day of coordinator, just to even get some BTS footage.
Yeah.
With this as important video content is now, I think they would love to have just 20 seconds of how they interact with the couple, or being in charge, or directing, or seeing them direct a wait staff that's in the middle of a flip.
Yeah.
That would be like, I think it would be so fun. And we have those opportunities too, and we would love to be of service to the vendor community a lot more than we are.
Because 20 seconds of high quality video goes a real long way on your website.
Oh, absolutely.
You put that on your website and, or integrate it into your website, boom. Like it just takes it to a different level.
Yeah. Instagram, TikTok, dress it up, show it off.
Absolutely.
So then you got a million different followers. And it goes viral, and you're famous. No, we'll work on that. We'll work on the survey.
Yeah.
Talk to some of the planners and the venue coordinators.
Yeah.
They're just as important. See if we can't get out in front of that. And do a better job on our end communicating with them that, here, we really want to be involved.
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing. I don't think they know that we really want to be involved. They just think, they're just used to videographers being in the background.
Yeah.
And not being an integral, active part of the day.
Yeah.
And that's where we want to be.
Yeah. And I mean, just the other thing about that communication and getting them involved is you can do cool things outside of style. You can do cool additions to your film that you wouldn't have thought to do otherwise, like have interviews with people at your wedding, with guests at your wedding, or have a private letter reading. We want to go to some place specifically private and pretty for a reading of a heartfelt letter, something like that.
Right.
All
Or you
those
could just
details.
talk to your potential spouse through the camera about the wedding day.
Love
just
that.
a kind of a face-to-face
Absolutely.
kind of thing would be great. Or even parents to contribute. We did that at one wedding.
Yeah.
We did that. We interviewed the parents beforehand. We got them to talk about the couple. And God, it just put a whole nother dimension on their film. And they'll treasure that forever. Because here they are. They have their parents talking, living, laughing, being together as a couple on their wedding day. I think that's just really special.
Yeah, and there's something about that that's so surprising, that the couple sometimes doesn't get to see that when it happens. So by the time they either see the film or see the footage, that's like another extra special moment.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah, it's a total surprise.
At that wedding rehearsal that we shot in Charlottesville, that really opened my eyes to that style specifically of getting those interviews, like those private interviews, because we shot a bunch of those there, and once you assemble them all together, it's a really cool thing that I don't think a lot of people even know is possible these days, because I think it's that shift away from documentary style filmmaking at events. So that's also taken the interview stuff with it.
Right.
So that's gone by the wayside with it. I'd like to bring some of that back, because I think it, it stands the test of time. It's like such a great thing to have. Like your mom saying some, nice words before your wedding day. That's incredible.
Yeah, exactly. The friends. I mean, anybody. I mean, all those guests who are there mean something to you for some reason or another.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think sometimes people, they only think about the visual, but they forget that the audio part of it. Because if you didn't get video, once the day is over, you might forget those moments that you had. Not just seeing them, but hearing them as well.
Right. Like your great-grandmother's laughter. She made it all the way from, California or something. And yeah, that's really precious stuff.